Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 15, Week 4. That's right, it's 2 weeks ago, baby! Today, we're looking at the Sandgangers taking on the Leftside Lunchboxes. We're only looking at this game because Game 2 is like 10-15 minutes, and I have really nothing to say about it except what I've already privately told the Lunchboxes, so we're just going to be looking at Game 1 today. Starting out here, knocking out the Dawnbreaker, knocking out the Ricky. Left side Lunchboxes, starting with the Treant, which is good. Following up with the Lena, which isn't so good. Not against this team. Which I believe is going to make the Sandgangers' first pick here rather predictable. Or maybe not. Maybe they're going to have to stop and think about this, actually. I guess it does stand to reason. Sandgangers, spoilers, are almost certainly going to pick Rubik here. It would be kind of gobsmacking if they didn't. But the question is, are we going to pick him 1, we're going to pick him 8, or we're going to run the risk, let him go to the second round?
Dire team pick.
No, we're going to pick the Tusk. Looking at the, presumably the Reedy Tusk. Last time we saw the Reedy Tusk, it was okay. If he can continue his path of okayness, then this should be an okay game for him as well.
10 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Starting out with the DP on left side Lunchboxes, I like that pick in theory. The playstyle is still not quite in J-Bay's favor, but hero that's all about pushing and all about being aggressive rather early is, you know, pretty good against the Sandgangers, I would say. Crystal Maiden, just a pretty safe support that's going to be okay, but not exceptional in pretty much every game you see her in. I would be surprised if this one was much of an exception. You notice the Ancients didn't load? It's a weird thing. Wonder if that's a proper bug or something just didn't load right. And we have a first phase Drow Ranger on Manoy's part. Well, that's annoying. It's probably the absolute best pick you can make in this slot, especially in a lineup like the Sandgangers, where, you know, if you're going to win against the Sandgangers, you're going to ban supports first phase. Every team that's going to win against Sandgangers, especially from this point forward, is going to ban 2 supports first phase. So you definitely have good ability to pick Drow here, and it's like one of the safest picks right now. It might get a little less safe by group stage, but certainly it's like, even if you properly counter out the Drow right now, it's still kind of hard to win against it, especially at an LD2L level. So that's a very, very good pick there on Manoy's part.
5 seconds remaining.
Also, it's really annoying for the DP. It doesn't really like getting silenced, and especially pushed around in fights. Doesn't like to be slow either, and that's the 2 things Drow brings to the table. You've also surrendered any opportunity to pick a better pause 3 against Drow, unless we're going to be running the DP mid, which is rarely a good idea, and probably isn't what you want to do into Tusk. Lunchbox is knocking out a bunch of the Mat classics.
Radiant team pick.
Picking up a Clockwork. I think Clockwork's okay in a Drow. That should be an acceptable option here. I just don't think there's... I mean, the biggest problem is that I think to beat Sandgangers you need good lanes, and I just don't think Death Prophet Clockwork is a very good lane. Clockwork's a great strategic pick, but he does not go well with DP at all, really.
5 seconds remaining.
It's the gears. You don't like the gears as DP. You like having totally free reign over the territory you're in. You don't like having to awkwardly scoot around those things. You don't like having to play through those things. The battery assault is okay. Not the most reliable stun, but it's all right. But lane phase is going to be at least, well, I mean, Black Otter doesn't get trees, so it's probably going to
Radiant
be
team pick.
not disastrous. Going to get the Undying here. Pretty decent in opposition to this set of heroes, though, spoilers, I do have knowledge from outside here, because I did research on game 2 of this, where he also played Undying.
10
Before this
seconds
series,
remaining.
Black Otter doesn't even have 10 Undying games, so
5 seconds remaining.
I don't think you can expect to see some peak Undying gameplay here, unfortunately for him. Still, against DP, who attacks about once every hour, and against the Clockwork, who is not going to be threatening to Undying at all, it should be alright. Clockwork might screw his own team over with the gears at this rate. Truly, unfortunately, illuminates the issue, I think, with picking the J-Bay hero first as this lineup. Like, you have made this game so much harder for yourself by letting them pick a good safe lane into your offlane. If J-Bay wins against the Sandgangers, you have a very, very visible path to victory, and if he doesn't, you don't. That's
Dire
pretty much as
team
simple
pick.
as it gets.
Night Stalker.
Gonna get the Night Stalker out on the godlike Matt. I don't think I really like Night Stalker into Clockwork that much, but, you know, he should be good into the other two at least. Well, unless DP's already ulted, in which case Night Stalker is a big blue angry melee creep, but, you
10
know, neither here
seconds
nor there.
remaining. 5
Lots of blue
seconds
going on
remaining.
this game. You got Night Stalker, you got Drow, you got kind of a blue-green Death Prophet, and you've got the unquestionably blue Crystal Maiden. I can't tell if that sound is coming from the game or coming from somebody playing a harmonica outside, but that's quite an interesting thing to hear.
Radiant team ban.
I believe that's coming from outside. Lunchboxes are going to be picking up the Marcy here for some reason. I guess this is a pause to Death Prophet. They understand that the Death Prophet Clockwork lane is not going to go good, and have opted to send Marcy there instead.
10
Now,
seconds
Marcy is a good
remaining.
lane bully, but I don't know if that's
5
exactly
seconds
what you
remaining.
want. It's going to be okay to Drow and Dying, probably. But you are another one of those heroes. It's like, just because Marcy can close on Drow and knock her out of position and everything doesn't really make her that great of a Drow counter, you know. If you get
Dire
gusted on your way
team
there,
ban.
you are 100% dead. Sandgangers inexplicably think this is a pause 1 Marcy and are banning
Radiant
out the
team
Mars.
ban.
I mean, I guess it theoretically could be. I just hope it's not. Um, Leftside Lunchboxes taking out the Ember Spirit. If it's a pause
10
1
seconds
Marcy, you're in
remaining.
a really cursed situation because it's like your
5
hero is
seconds
pretty bad in
remaining.
a Night Stalker and Tusk, and it's not the greatest into the Drow that she nominally counters. And if you're in a situation where your pause 1 is not going to be beating the enemy pause 1 at any real point of the game, even early, against the Sandgangers, you ain't winning the game. Period.
Dire team ban.
We're not allowed to see whatever the last thing that Manoy banned was. Oh wait, no, he didn't ban anything. He ran out of time. Oops.
So good and tasty.
Radiant team
Wow, this
pick.
guy's real good.
Storm Spirit ban. You have 20 seconds to think of what read he's going to pick with those two bans on the board, which is why running out of time here is pretty dangerous. Well, not
10
Reedy,
seconds
actually. It's
remaining.
going to be their pause 4, I think. It's going to be the Jackie Chin
5
hero.
seconds remaining.
Unless it's Jackie Chin Tusk,
Dire
which I don't
team
think I
pick.
like. It is going to be Jackie Chin Tusk. Okay. Gonna have Puck against this lineup. Puck can be annoying, sure, but I don't think it does anything much against this lineup that the Drow, Undying, and Night Stalker cumulatively don't already do, basically, for you.
10 seconds remaining.
Especially redundant
Five
next to the
seconds
Night Stalker,
remaining.
I feel like, is your pause 3 puck, basically. They even are both blue guys with wings, so. It's another hero under the theme of blue this game, along with Tusk's gloves and Marcy's jacket, or just sleeves, I guess. Leftside Lunchboxes right now have a team comp that is just a little baffling. It's really hard to see where these guys are going. Maybe this final pick is going to shed a little light on this situation. Can tell you this. I don't care where DP's going. She ain't got no game today. It's going to be real rough for her. The Tusk is bad enough. 3 silences are bad enough. And then you also have the fact that you're going to be a hero fighting into the Tombstone, fighting into the Undying Hold. You just really don't want to be doing that. You're going to be fighting with the Dream Coil. You don't want to be doing that. You're going to be picking
Now
Magnus
select
here
your
to confirm that
heroes.
this is a puzzle on Marcy. Left side lunchboxes have lost their mind. I feel like when Puzzle on Marcy works, it's usually by accident. And I don't know if any accidents are happening this game. It's starting to feel a little bit like they really just don't have a great idea how to pick Lone Wolf on left side lunchboxes. It feels like every game you have 4 other guys and then a head scratcher on their pause 1 on this team. I don't know. Either way, I don't know if this is going to be a tough matchup for left side lunchboxes anyway. The biggest problem that they've had before or since this game is the game that you have when you want to beat Sandgangers. Ban supports, win lanes, and do it early. I don't really see how this team wins early. Death Prophet could potentially be a snowball for you, but Death Prophet is so far from having a game in this particular game that you're like the thing I see in my head is Death Prophet pushes T3. Um, Everybody around her dies in a half second, and then she just goes home. And we have the Tallball CM and the Matty Boy Clockwork here, which is a lane swap that I don't think I can comfortably agree with. I guess we'll have to see when it comes out, but, we've had Tallballs very successful on this Clockwork as of late. It's really confusing to me seeing them switch it off of him. God, like, Matt still has his Red Bull sponsorship.
Prepare for battle.
And Manoy is still part of the team Breath the Wild. Or maybe it's best the worst. It's hard to tell. Either way, it is an you know non-optimistic forecast for the lunchboxes in this game. Like their style, their inability to play the fast game has been noticed quite a few games. We saw it against Arkosh. We saw it in the Week 5 game against against Trashboat's lineup. And that's how you beat Sandgangers. You go fast, you go early. This is a team where you have Lone Wolf going AFK on the rune spot, because that's how you want to start this. You have a team where you have a pause 1 who can move fast and hard, but really can't do anything more than move fast. I think a Marcy pause 1, even in a short, quick game, is going to need something else on that core lineup to get her to actually be competitive, and right now they don't really have that. DP has no game. DP is so dead in the water in this game. It's astounding if she even vaguely performs. And she's running bot for some reason. And, the Magnus could be... What? Um... Okay. J-Bay is going to be running the Magnus mid here, which means that we really are going to see DP Clockwork against the Drow Undying. Oh no. Oh, looter, baby! No, bro! This ain't no good. This ain't no good at all. Oh, no, no, no. This is not what we do. I like the Magnus against Puck can be okay. It's gonna rely on some good gameplay and probably a few mistakes on Puck, but it's not a situation where JB I think should usually be in danger, and he should be able to put Puck in danger, courtesy of his Q and E, unless he just maxes in power and doesn't hit anything else in
Dire's
lane.
middle tower is under attack.
This bot lane looks like just a future disaster zone for this lineup. This is an awful, awful matchup for Lunchboxes. Top lane, I don't like that either. I don't like Marcy into the Night Stalker even before Night Stalker's cool. And seems a little, weedy and untanky for having a pause one in this game that's also pretty weedy and untanky. Like, Marcy does a lot, guys, but, she's not really exactly going to be the tankiest hero in the game after a couple of minutes. You know, pretty low base armor, all that. Pretty low base armor, some pretty bad regen. It's gonna be a very squishy pair of laners, which is exactly what Tusk and Night Stalker want. Like, you can just see it here. This is such a bad support trade for Tall Balls to have to take. Just gonna lose half of his HP and his MP trying to just ward off Tusk there. At the very least, it's a double melee lane against a CM, which is always really annoying to play, but you know how it goes. So, I'm going to have to record another goddamn series with these guys tonight, so it's going to be fun saying their names twice in a row. As far as the roll call goes, Matty Boy is just kind of dying. Here comes the tombstone, none of these guys can do anything to the tombstone, and Matty Boy is therefore dead. But, Matt just died somehow top, so let's take a look at how that happens. Just gets thrown into the creep wave and has a couple of awkward encounters there. It's definitely a big advertisement to Matt. Please get your one now. Or not your one, but please get your stick now. It's going to be a very skill spammy lane, certainly. But, yeah, I mean, even though Black Otter is not exactly going to be the pinnacle of experience on this Undying hero, exactly, this is such a good lane matchup for Undying that it's almost hard to see how it matters. Like, they really kind of did a disservice to themselves putting this lane together here, and unfortunately, as much as I hate to see it, they've done themselves a disservice, I think, with the Matty Boy move to pause 4 in this specific game. Manoy pause 1, captain of the team on Sandgangers, on the Drow Ranger. Pause 2, we've got Reedy on the Puck. Pause 3, Godlike Matt, sponsored by Red Bull, on the Night Stalker. Pause 4, not pictured here. Pause 4, not pictured here. Where's Tuska? Oh, there is Tuska. You have Jackie Chin on the Tusk. And pause 5, you've got Black Otter on the Undying. On the other side of the coin, on Looter's Lunchboxes, pause 1, you've got Lone Wolf on Marcy for some reason, who, okay, that's kind of clever. I like that interaction. Rip Puck. Let's back up a second and see that. Okay, she's gonna get charged under tower here. How does she die for this? She's just low enough that, oh no, that was just an ill-advised, use of the jump there. That's a bit unfortunate. Pause 1, you've got, Lone Wolf on the Marcy. Pause 2, you've got J-Bay, typically pause 3, today pause 2 on the Magnus. Pause 3, you've got Looter on the spooky ranged creep. Pause 4, that's captain of the team, by the way. Pause 4, you've got Matty Boy on the Clockwork, and pause 5, you've got Tall Balls on the Crystal Maiden. I gotta say, J-Bay did well in getting that first blood mid, but I feel like this team is like half as good with this specific configuration. I feel like Looter, J-Bay, Tall Balls, Matty is about 1,000 times better than J-Bay, Looter, Matty, Tall Balls. But perhaps that's just my bias talking. And speaking of Tall Balls, to the grave he goes. Just getting run over by this lane as it's Night Stalker o'clock. Reedy has shown up to inexplicably try to gank Puz 1 Marcy, but runs directly into the creep wave to show everybody what he's up to. Okay, I don't know why he's here or why he did that, but, you know. I guess, when you get first blooded, you want to get that momentum back somehow, and perhaps that looked like an easy kill for a puck. Matty Boy going to be intervening in this lane to try and help Magnus out a little bit here. Probably not a terrible idea. I do think a big part of why the first blood, not the first blood, but that first kill on the puck went well there. Here's just because Matty just showed up when Puck wasn't expecting it, threw a wrench into the escape plans, and just made everything pretty annoying. Jackie Chan is likely gonna die here if they're smart about this. And down he goes. You do indeed hit a hard. That was a good snowball on Jackie's part because it was a very cursed scenario for the die here. Okay, what is going on here, guys? Seriously. It's just Matty Boy can't exist in this lane is the answer. And with the supports gone, Manoy is gonna have a bit of a tough time getting away from that, though now he is. Looter is once again in the day. Wait a minute. Homeboy. Why? You counter this hero so bad. All you get is one level of gust, and she literally can't do anything to you in this lane. What is this I hate gust strat? It boggles the mind. Magnus gets a free bottle refill for his troubles, and is likely looking to put some pressure on the T2 here as Puck is smoked out. Again, looking at this puzzle on Marcy. You actually get the puzzle on Marcy this time and uses a first Dream Coil on the CM. Not the most fortunate way to go about that, but that is a kill indeed. If Manoy gets a single point of guts, this lane is so ridiculously over for 4DP. It's like completely unplayable, basically.
Got it.
Meanwhile, this lane is already a little bit unplayable for poor Marcy and CM up here in top. Sitting on 10 last hits less than Godlike Matt. The very least, J-Bay is well ahead of anybody else for CS and has a kill, so he is going to be looking at a pretty good game for himself. And somehow Looter has been allowed to farm at all in this lane, which is honestly a Christmas miracle for him. If you're DP in this lane and you get any CS, buy a lottery ticket. Going to be presumably from early grade. Is going to be presumably a dead CM. Let's take a look at that. That's 100-0. That is. Going to use all our buttons on the poor Crystal Maiden because Marcy's useless without her. And these guys know that. She's also gone for a Ring of Health, which is always an inspiring first item to see in a pause 1. It's going to help her complete inability to win the Battle of Attrition. The bad news is that it's not going to be that much health when she just gets smoked out by these two high magic damage aggressive heroes. a pri- Magnus still just putting a little heat on this T1 here. Magnus not exactly the T1 pusher du jour at mid, I would say. It's probably the biggest downside is that you ain't great at hitting that T1 when the enemy is out. You are pretty good at ganking out though, which means that when Puck has been gone, it is a little interesting. He hasn't been doing that, though I suppose it's rather likely he's just been doing these camps in here repeatedly.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And Marcy, or Puck, is tired of that and has drawn a line over the triangle to insinuate he cannot do that. Tusk looking in a little bit of danger here. Likely fine? Likely a little less fine? NVM? That does expose a little bit of the... No, I'm not gonna say what I was about to say, because Jackie Chin watches these things and probably doesn't want me to say, exposes a bit of the weakness in the Jackie Chin support play there. No towers down at 11 minutes anywhere. No towers even really that close. Tusk is shown up here down at bot, and Looter is regretting picking this hero. JB has shown up. He might be able to do something here. If anybody on this team can, I guess it's him. Or he might be able to pick the Undying off and probably get nobody else. In fact, he might be able to get victimized by the inaugural Gust and just get run over. Now that we have that Gust, Drow is probably just not going to die again in this game. Not even get reasonably close.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Well, Lone Wolf just lost a sword for his Battle Fury. That's actually pretty annoying when you're Marcy, I think. Night Stalker has his sword. It's the sword that lets him sword again. So. Magnus now the top of the net worth charts still, but is now directly followed by the two main cores on the Radiant, and his own teammates are starting to get increasingly far behind. The only upside is that Reedy is kind of far behind as well.
Invisibility.
Looking like they're going to go all in on Marcy here. Almost got to question it a little bit, like... Why? What do we get out of bullying the Marcy here, anyway? Especially if you miss the ice shards on her and she gets away as a result. Like, we don't need to kill this guy. This is not a win condition for Looter's Lunchboxes by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like if we're going to have the 3 and under club just try and go all in on somebody, that person's name is Magnus. And basically only Magnus at this point. Lunchboxes do finally take the first tower of this game, and of course it's the bot Radiant T1. Sort of an awkward start here, as the Clockwork Gears just show up in the middle of the fight. Just to make things a little awkward. Puck gets solo RP'd. I don't think that's exactly what Magnus wanted, but it is going to work out here. Matt's going to fall down. Get surprisingly ran over here. Despite how bad that fight looked at the start for the Lunchboxes, it did end up just going against their favor pretty dramatically. Or in their favor pretty dramatically. 1,213 gold falls into their pockets. Looter takes back second place here, which would be great if he had a game this game, but you know how it goes. It's definitely a very good DP performance here. Like, if you're not
Dire's middle
like
tower is under
pretty
attack.
solid at DP, you can't do anything this game. Like, not even a little bit. This is certainly an overperformance. Though I do gotta say, I do feel like that fight was a little bit more Radiant goes all in
Dire's top
on
tower is under
spot
attack.
deep in enemy territory without the actual ability to do that yet. Radiant's
middle
not got
tower
the
is
onus
under
to win
attack.
early. If this match goes more than like, you know, 10 more minutes, then Radiant is going to have a completely unshakable advantage. They don't have the onus to win early, so I'm not really sure why they're trying to go for plays like that. You know, you can take an early advantage over an early game team without
Dire's
like
bottom tower is under
staking
attack.
out on that. Matt immediately breaks the smoke, and I think Lunchboxes actually see that happen. So they now know the this lineup is. Oh, that's sad. They do now know this lineup is smoked out. Two-man RP gets the Undying and the Tusk. Tusk is going to protest, but is just going to go down. Unfortunately, attempting this fight at Night Stalker clock and not being able to disable the puck in any other serious way, and the inexplicable lack of mercy in this fight, has led to the demise of this dire lineup. Putting the control of the winner's purse back right into the pockets of the Radiant, who actually pretty much just made exactly as much money as the Dire did, back into their own camp, just on more useful heroes that are more likely to actually win the game.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Pace slows down quite dramatically here. Undying going for Guardian Greaves. It's not going to make Matt do that. You think Matt's doing the Greaves dispatch? Tusk and Clockwork have a little funny encounter here. That's a really good silence out of the puck. It's not going to do anything but get her a casual kill and give Tusk like 3 more seconds to live, but you do have that. Pretty good Dream Coil. Pretty much everybody who's relevant to have Dream Coiled is. Unfortunately, Sim got a good catch on the puck, the edge of that fight. Okay, this is so awkward. Is Sandganger's going to fight or are they not? It just really seems like neither team can decide whether this is time to go or time to not. Drow is here, so I can spoil how that's going to go. Drow is here with the shard. And we have a split shot there that hits nothing, doesn't need to. Or multi-shot, sorry. That hits nothing, doesn't need to. It's still over for Lunchboxes, and
Dire's top
as much as I hate to say this, at 18 minutes, I do think it might just be over period for the Lunchboxes at this juncture. Again, a lack of mercy in that last fight, which is really baffling. It's like the Lunchboxes picked this very early game centric lineup and have no idea that they did that.
Visibility.
It's just, that's not true. I don't want to say no idea because the 3 and under club, Looter, Tall Balls, Matty are certainly playing like it. JBay is, for the most part, playing like it. He's getting himself some farm sometimes, but not unacceptably for somebody who's on a fast-paced strategy. Drow Ranger has paused the game.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
It really just does not feel like, I mean, this is just a cursed matchup for Lunchboxes anyway, because it's like when they do run the early game aggressive strats, they really struggle with it anyway. So I guess this is some sort of weird
Dire's
cursed
bottom
compromise
tower
where
is
they're
under
going to
attack.
pick an early game lineup and then run it like it's a mid or late game lineup and not win. I mean, that's a strong prediction at this point, but like, Mm, I just don't see glory coming out of the, I just don't see a victory path for the Lunchboxes here. If you get a string of ridiculous 5-man RPs, you definitely have a path, but I mean, that is asking for a lot, especially against a lineup with a Puck, a Night Stalker, and a Drow, 3 cores that are not really going to be standing. You know, they're going to be close to each other, sure, but they're not going to be so close to each other they're going to be stepping on each other's toes. You're not going to get all that in a Dream Core, or not a Dream Core, you're not going to get all that in an RP. Certainly, not often. Matty Boy is going to tank the smoke gank and just get eliminated from existence. Never mind, they're going to forget to actually kill him for a second.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Puck trying to be a little annoying to J-Bay here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Puck's still sitting in Poverty Row at this point, the lowest value core in this server.
Top tower is under attack.
Somehow. That's some very dramatic room that he's given his friends to farm. Great dodge there with the snowball by Jackie Chen, but the fight's still a little okay. It's getting better. This team is looking like they're not going to clean up after all and are just going to get owned. But Manoy gets the tower, and that's the important part. And all this Exo did was kill a Night Stalker, which is not the best objective in the world, especially if you're just going to die now, maybe? Yep. Okay. Yeah, this is Dunzo. Tusk gets himself a Blink Dagger. And a little bit of Ward's just gonna do his God-ordained warding duties. That god being Ice Frog, of course. They scan out the Roche Pit are going to see Undying walk by it. But when the flare comes in to confirm, they can see it's actually nothing. Usually that will be kind of a cursed scan because all they actually saw was Undying walking by and nobody actually doing it. Undying finishes his grease up. Night Stalker going for a halberd for reasons that elude me, to be honest with you. Nobody on that team right-clicks except for the Marcy doesn't do anything. I guess that's just trying to make sure that somebody doesn't get empowered and sidekicked enough to be like a real right-clicking force, but the question is who? And the answer is I have no idea. The only thing at this point that's actually still doing anything to this lineup is pretty much just the ghosts, and Halberd is not going to help you at all dealing with that. Which begs the question, what does help you against the ghosts? Answer's not much. It's just kind of armor, and that's about it. I would honestly just go for AC here instead, I think. Armor or HP regen, so it's like you get AC, or you get a hard, or if you're wacky, you could just get some other item with a lot of HP regen and happen to use it for that. Another flare goes into the Roche Pit, another flare lights up nothing. Jackie Chan is like, I am a Tusker. I know where the enemy jungle is. It's right here. Now time to eat a smoke gank. They're not even gonna gank me. They're gonna gank me. They're not even gonna gank me. Ooh, another really good snowball dodge there. And a good decision to try and rack up as much time as possible on that. RP comes out, gets two, gets the Undying and the Night Stalker. Night Stalker's just gonna fly away though. Drow Ranger in the back of this fight has a pretty clear shot on the enemy forces here. J-Bay escapes this battle into more pain. Oh, that's a little sad. That's Marcy into Drow Gaming right there. That's the exact scenario that I kind of saw playing out in my head.
Nightmare continues.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And what do you do now? I don't know. You just kind of watch Drow win, I guess.
Middle tower has fallen. Dire's
Reedy has gone from the bottom of the net worth chart to up there with the rest of his teammates, just to make sure you don't have the one advantage this team had anymore.
barracks has fallen.
And just break this top T3. Here comes the nerf stick.
Has fallen. Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Godlike Matt finishes his halberd. I feel like it's a little unlikely we're even going to see it once before the end of this game, but you never know. Undying is going to put up a tombstone for literally no reason. Everybody almost forgets to kill the Rex. Pro tip, don't do this as Undying. They can kill this tombstone and they get money for it. Looter is not calling the G's here. They have scanned out the Roche. It's a very sad time to finally watch the Manoy lineup do it, because while they have definitely seen it happen, they not only can't get there in time, they really couldn't stop that if they did. Again, outside of a ridiculous and unlikely 5-man RP. I mean, the good news is Marcy's got a DD and everybody is right-clicking her because they saw her pop up for a second, but they're not going to get her. Or maybe they're just right-clicking bot and that's just a symptom of it. Who knows? Lone Wolf going to try and buy some time by cutting off the back of this wave. But it's not even going to clear it out by the time she has to TP. We...
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Bot T2 is just eaten.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's courier has been killed.
J-Bay is doing camps in the enemy jungle. He's going to be able to get back in time for this, though. Tombstone goes up for pretty much no reason, and Looter's Lunchboxes are so done with this game, they're standing by the T4s.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
You're gonna use a bunch of spells on Puck and not actually hit her, though, so there is that.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Flockwork has been eliminated from this game. Got a, on one hand, we got a good ult from Puck there. On the other hand, they do not actually silence the DP before she just starts ulting and it's BKB. Manoy is in the thick of things back here. First life on the Drow Ranger. About to have to potentially 1v5 here. Awkwardly timed Gus is going to really ruin things for their attempts to kill her, but not enough to actually get the job. To actually ruin the job. Well, the good news is that the Lunchboxes have successfully base defended. The bad news is that they have literally no chance to win this game, so I'm just going to 16x until we get another push here. I mean, you just call the GGs, right? Like, it's going to be heartbreaking if you have these epic base defenses in a game you have a 0% chance to win. Goodbye, tall balls. Dwarf's knocked out. And back to it.
Dire's bottom Dire's bottom
All the
tower
core have watched their final set of rags fall. You are now in a Mega Creeps defense game where your Pause 1 is Marcy. Why are we still here? Why is this replay still going?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Why are they not finishing? Like, hello? Just go in and win now, please? Trying to torture the caster or what?
I'll take that.
Wanna just finish up our inventories here, I guess?
Dire's courier has been killed.
Oh, Jesus. It certainly shows a weakness into committing to actually finish the match on the Manoy team. They only failed to commit to win at the point where they have already completely decisively won. But certainly that opens up the idea that, you know, this could happen in a hypothetically more competitive game at the very least. D4 is going to go down.
Has fallen.
T4 is going to go down.
Dire's ancient is under attack.
Manoy team could pretty much just win now. Are you kidding me? You guys are really going to try and base defend here? JP calls the G's, and we're going home. That was an interesting set of events. GG Whippo. Alright, I mean, this is going to sound like some incredible flame towards the Lunchboxes, but I'm sure at this point they're used to it. Yeah, that was just everything they didn't need to do rolled up into one game. It was amazing. I think the Manoy team actually did give them a pretty realistic chance to win here. The draft has some issues. You got some redundancy. The supports are not really, like, let's just call a spade, alright? Both of these supports so far are a little one hero wonder-ish. No offense to either of them. But so far, they've had very impressive performances on the Rubik and Treant, respectively, and, like, not really anybody else. The Tusk here was good, but I just don't know if Tusk 4 is something that you're going to run in a game where your Pause 4 matters, honestly. But the Leftside Lunchboxes draft, it was just going 90 places at once, and none of them were the right way. The Clockwork and the Death Prophet are almost anti-chemistry. The Magnus and Death Prophet is good. I like the Magnus-Death Prophet combo. But the Clockwork with the Death Prophet is almost anti-chemistry. The Marcy Pause 1 didn't make a lot of sense, and how they played it out made even less so. You want to go an aggressive early strat against Sangangers, I think that much is pretty obvious. And they picked a hero that, at least hypothetically, could do that, but it got countered out really badly here, and just had no impact. I mean, didn't even show up a lot of the early game fights. Did Lone Wolf just think that this is going to be a game where he was going to go to 60 minutes and somehow win against a Drow Ranger lineup? I just don't really see this happening. Either way, like I said, you know, game 2 is like 10 minutes long. It is a nothing game, so I just decided to excise that from our recording schedule. So, if you're somebody you know wants to learn Dota 2 at a casual or more competitive level, go to ld2l.gg to sign up today. And I'm going to record another series right now that a lot more people are going to watch, so I'll do the rest of this ending spiel there.